Howdy everybody. It's your boy Colonel Zanders, your most mediocre, most washed internet personality here. Gonna start something new where I call it my herbs and spices review, where I go over a piece of media I've consumed recently: books, video games, movies, anything that I think I'd like to talk about and kind of document for myself. See if anybody on this big vast internet feels the same way I do, and then maybe start a conversation about these things that sometimes I don't think get enough respect. So for today, we're going over called the Séance of Blake Manor. It's a video game by Raw Fury, I believe is the publisher, and developer Spooky Door. It's a detective Clue-esque game where you're invited to a manor by a mysterious letter. You're tasked with finding out why this Miss Evelyn Dean is missing, and there's a seance happening in 3 days, and so you kind of have 3 days to talk to these 20 other attendees that have come from across the world to attend this seance, and they all have their separate motivations past, whether that's to the seance or Miss Dean sometimes. And so it's a fun kind of exploratory. You're only stuck in this little manor, but it opens up as the days go, and it's a lot of character interactions and exploring and putting together puzzle pieces, and it's very satisfying. It's really hard to put down. A game that I just couldn't stop thinking about for the 4 or 5 days that I was into it. Took me about 20 hours, but I wanted to kind of get everybody's ending wrapped up, and so maybe that took me a little longer than it'll probably take most of y'all. But getting into stuff I liked about it, my herbs, the characters, the voice acting was amazing. The environment is spooky without really being too crazy or cheesy. They do a good job of jump scares, not too much where you are expecting it. There's only maybe 2 or 3, so when they do happen, it really kind of gives you the feeling of like, oh, like they got me on that one. But it's never like it's not a scary game. It's just kind of like spooky and mystic, and the lore and spirituality play a big part. It's set in the 1890s, and so the science and the spirituality of that time is very interesting. There's a lot of different people with different walks of life, and so it's cool to kind of go back and experience 1890s Ireland. Hey, cat. And so that was a lot. The gameplay was also really good with the hypothesis mechanic, and it does a good job of clue tracking, and there's always feels like someplace the next step to do. Like I said, I couldn't put it down. I just kept on. Once one mystery was solved, I was like, oh, I know, like this opened up over here. So I blitzed through this game, spent like I said, 3 or 4 straight days playing it. So there were a couple things I didn't like. Even though it was a sprint, it was kind of more of a fast walk. By the 3rd day, there's like the outside and grounds and more of the manor kind of opens up for you to access, and by that point there's a lot of, you gotta kind of explore a little bit, and sometimes you find something that makes you go back to the other side of the manor, and it's a little bit of a walk. And if you don't have it on a SSD, the loading screens between, like whenever you open a door, it definitely adds up if you're like me and doing a lot of backtracking. That and there was a couple characters, stories or plots, their mysteries that like kind of didn't do it for me. There was 2 in particular, one about an Egyptian lady that kind of felt a little not great. Still interesting, and that was one of the jump scares was that one. So not bad. It's just there was a couple that could have used a little more work, a little more story. And the ending it was hard to, unless I missed stuff early on or didn't connect the dots, it was hard to kind of predict before the last 30 minutes who the bad guy was, but you didn't really know the motivation once you kind of knock everybody else off. But the ending does a good job of being like, oh, like stuff you thought was happening while being spooky and spiritual is still kind of believable. So using my 1 to 5 spice ranking for this game, 1 being no heat and 5 being that's a spicy meatball. I'm going to give this one a 4. Definitely a recommend. If you like detective games, or Return of the Obra Dinn is kind of my closest comparison, which I love that game. Similar spooky detective vibe, but connecting the dots and enough mechanics where you felt like another game that I just couldn't put down. So if you're into that, if you like figuring stuff out, it's not fast paced, but it does require some thinking and some pattern recognition. So we'll see how this video goes. Hopefully I'll do more of these, and yeah, you guys have a nice day.